COVID-19 has impacted us all.
It has taken lives and loved ones.
It has put our education on hold.
It has taken jobs and careers.
It has put us in danger.
Everyone has felt the impact of lockdown.
But for us, the impact has the potential to alter the course of our lives forever.
We are a generation disrupted.
But we refuse to let this pandemic steal our future.
We are resilient.
We are brave.
We are strong.
The global youth mobilization is our chance to make a change.
To find solutions that works for us, that are led by us.
We are joining forces with global organizations that are committed to helping us rebuild our communities and reset our futures.
We are calling on governments, policymakers, and brands to prioritize youth-focused policies.
We are championing our access and inclusion in education.
The Global Youth Summit 2021 will mark the start of a global movement
to channel investment, ideas, and actions to build a better future.
Young people like you and me from all over the world
are invited to submit our own solutions to local health and societal challenges caused by COVID-19.
This is our chance for our voices to be heard
and our actions to be seen.
Together, we are leading this mobilization.
We are determined to be the heart of solutions.
This is our chance
to bring our vision for a better world to life.
Hello everyone! How good to be here another day with you guys. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. I don't know where you are around the world. I am Felipe and I will be the MC again for the second day of the Global Youth Mobilization. And I'm not alone again. I'm with my friend Namrata. Hello Namrata, how are you today?
Hey Felipe, I am so excited to be here on the second day. I am Namrata Sharma from India and Felipe and I will be guiding you through the day too as well. How have you all been? Please put it in the chat box because we would love to know how you have been going through the breakout sessions and enjoying. We would love to know which specific breakout session did you like, which one did you attend, where you learned the most, and what exactly did you learn. Do share it with us in the comment section. Also, Felipe, I saw you in a couple of breakout sessions. How was your experience?
Yeah, thanks for asking, Namrata. And guys, don't forget to share with us this experience because today we're gonna choose some comments to read his in live. So you can start to comment now. We have like a team to choose some comments to read here on live, okay? And before I talk about my experience, I would like to invite all of you guys to watch this video, this broadcasting on our website, because there you can choose the language that you prefer. We have English, Arabic, French, Spanish, and Russian. And also don't forget to tag us on Instagram and Twitter. It's GI Mobilization. Let's do it now. Yeah, we have Instagram and Twitter. I'm gonna share on my Instagram and you do in your Twitter. Can be like that? Yeah? Let's do.
Yeah,
so Namrata, I'm gonna make a story, say, oh, hello, invite all your friends to come to this Global Youth Mobilization broadcasting. Yeah? I'm counting with you guys in your homes. And don't forget to also use the hashtag Youth Mobilize. Yesterday, you asked me about the session that I participated yesterday. Yeah. I participated of some sessions, but the one that I most activist that my activating this session, it's about the youth activism, also the internet activism, because we also can keep doing youth activism during this pandemic. We can go to the street and shout, but we can go to internet, and I think it's a really good point during this pandemic. And how about you, Namrata?
Yeah, for me, Felipe, actually that session was pretty amazing as well. But being a mental health professional, I always get attracted to the sessions that focus on mental health, and that's what took me to that session yesterday. And I honestly learned that it's not just your physical health, it's also the mental health that pulls you forward. And if we are not of a sound mind, we will not be able to maintain a sound body. And especially for the youngsters who need to be build their resilience during these tough times to support themselves and others around them. So yeah, that session really, really resonated with me. So yeah, I think Felipe and I have been, really enjoying the breakout sessions. And
Yeah, for sure.
so Felipe, should we take the second day forward now?
Yes, of course. And now to officially open the second day, we're gonna go introduce Andres to talk about yesterday highlights. Of course, we have a lot to highlight to talk about. And let's start the second day. The floor is yours, Andres.
Hello everyone, my name is Andres and I am a board member of the Global Youth Mobilization. Originally from Durango, Mexico, I am very proud to have served as coordinator of the National Youth Network of Mexico at the Scouts Association of Mexico. What an amazing day we had yesterday, such a productive sessions that have all carried on today too. We started the day with an amazing plenary full of such inspiring stories from young people around the world and great inputs from our special guests, Dr. Tedros Ghebreyesus and Dr. Maria Pankerkov. We hear from our partners such as Salesforce, UNICEF, the Special Olympics, and many, many more, and are extremely grateful to all who have invested efforts in delivering such a rich program. We learn a lot, and I'd love to share a few highlights from a range of breakouts. We discussed the meaning of being a digital citizen and the importance of developing empathy in the real world to be able to transfer it to the digital world. We had some fascinating discussions about innovation and interesting health solutions that we delivered during the pandemic. We had a chance to learn about ways in which we can self-practice care and the importance of having safe spaces and circles of confidence to discuss the challenges we face on a daily basis. We focused on mental health, recognizing the resilience of young people and how important it is to emphasize on the positive things that happen daily. We also learned a lot about vaccines, but busted some myths and reaffirmed the importance of young people promoting vaccination. And we explored the impact a pandemic has had on education, especially on young people with different abilities. But most importantly, we were so inspired by all the amazing interaction with all of you joining us and had a chance to follow several sessions. And in every one, I was amazed by the engagement and great communication and positive attitude we have had. I had an amazing opportunity together with Yesenia Ramirez to facilitate the Spanish version of the From Concept to Action, Empowering Communities to Prevent COVID-19 session. And through the interaction in this session, I realized how young people from all over the world are facing the pandemic and the concerns they have about the different crises it has ignited. Through the discussion, I could see how many of you are working hard one way or another, providing insights and getting into action to make the world we currently live in a better place. I have no hesitation on that. We are gonna make it. Young people are mobilizing. I hope you are all ready for another great day. We've got so much amazing content from expert speakers and inspired organizations. Please keep joining in the sessions and also take advantage of the translation functions we have available over the globalyouthmobilization.org. Note that we still have more breakout sessions today and tomorrow before the last plenary, and I look forward to seeing you in some of them.
Thank you so much, Andres. That was very, very beautifully summarized and very short and crisp. So thank you so much for that. And now we are moving to a fun part because we are going to read a few comments here. Let's see. The first comment here. Okay, I need to just maximize this a little. Okay, forgive me.
Don't worry, take your time.
Yes. Yeah. The first comment is by Yinka, and I'm sorry, I'm not sure whether it's a he or she, but thank you so much for your comment. And she says, I have really enjoyed this summit. I was in managing finance and budget for young people. My major takeaway is the 10 savings commandments. Thank you so much, Yinka. That is a very detailed comment because it helps us know which part you are enjoying the most, and really helps us gets us motivated to maybe improve on some things, maybe if you're not able to reach out in any way. So keep your comments coming, guys, because it helps us to improve and cater to your needs further. Yeah.
For sure.
So,
I think, first of all, we're going to just read one comment now. Maybe after we can read another one. So please keep sharing your experience. And now let's keep the show. Okay, Namrata?
Yeah, right. Yeah. So after one comment, we would now like to move on to our first session of the day, where I would like to welcome Jayatama Vikramanayake, who is a UNSG Youth Envoy, and she will be moderating our first session, that is Achieving Policy Change from Within. Now, this session is very, very important because it helps us, to the young people to learn and how they can work from within to achieve meaningful and lasting policy change. Now, all of us know policies come and go, but how do we as youngsters make use of them? How do we put it into action? So this session is going to be very, very useful for all of you because we are the change. We are the change. We are going to bring it into action. So let's go ahead. Welcome, Jayatma.
Thank you very much, Namrata. Thank you. Just making sure that everyone can hear me. If you could just give me a thumbs up, I would know that you can hear me. Fantastic. Thank you very much. So welcome, everyone, to this exciting plenary session. I'm saying this is exciting, not because I'm moderating it. You will see in a little bit that we're going to be discussing some really very exciting things. My name is Jayatma Vikramanayake. I am the United Nations Secretary General's Envoy on Youth. I work as an advisor and a representative of the UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres, and I will be the moderator of this session today on achieving policy change from the inside. Let me first congratulate the Big Six and all partners involved in this event for pulling off such an impressive Global Youth Summit online. I'm thrilled to be here and to support this initiative from the very beginning, and I hope that you are ready and excited as we are to dive into this session. As I mentioned, this session will talk about achieving policy change from the inside, a topic that is close to my and the other speakers of this session. Advocating for meaningful youth participation in regional, national, and international platforms is the sort of bread and butter of the speakers of this session today. For me personally, within the United Nations, the UN's youth strategy, Youth 2030, is the blueprint for mainstreaming meaningful participation of young people in the UN's policy conversations. And in this youth strategy, the UN commits to promote young people's right to participate in public affairs, including in political and civic processes, platforms, institutions at all levels. So today's generation of young people are the largest generation of young people that our world has ever known. But if we look at the statistics, particularly as it relates to political participation, just over 30% of the world's single and lower chambers of parliament have no MPs under the age of 30. About 80% of the world's upper houses of parliament have no MPs under the age of 30. Young people under the age of 30 constitute just over 2% of world's parliamentarians. All these statistics, all these numbers are the reason why, for an example, we have campaigns like Not Too Young to Run, which aims at lowering the age limit of running for office, same as the voting age, and campaigns and initiatives that tackles the barriers that young people face when it comes to political participation. And I think it's specifically important to have an intersectional focus and to include marginalized groups who are being left behind, because young women and girls, young LGBTIQ people, young community leaders, young indigenous leaders face additional barriers when it comes to participating in public affairs. Recently, together with the Interparliamentary Union, we also launched a call to action on young women's political participation and leadership, together with the other partners of the Interparliamentary Union, to aim to enhance and galvanize momentum towards young women's political participation. So I'm extremely happy that today in our session, we have 3 young women who are trailblazers in their political activism today. We see a growing mistrust of young people and political institutions. Young people feel often alienated from political processes, and they feel alienated from elected leaders, which is caused by the policies that do not reflect the priorities of young people. And many young people feel like they are trapped in a system that they had no say in creating. So it's important to build this trust gap. And I think one of the best ways to bridge that trust gap is to get more young people in politics. So we need to find ways in which young people can not only meaningfully participate in politics, but co-lead and co-create processes for policy development at local, national, and international levels as well. So let's dive deeper into these questions or these ideas today in our panel discussion. Please know that the speakers will speak for a couple of minutes, and then we can dive into a question and answer session. So please post your questions using the chat function. You can also post not only questions, but your comments, your experiences, your reflections about what we are discussing in the panel as well. And when you ask a question or send us a comment, please tell us where you are from and what your name is, so we know from whom the question is coming from and who you want the question to be answered by as well. So without further ado, let me now introduce our fantastic panelists. Let me first go to Safat Ahmed. Safat, the floor is yours to make an introduction.
Yeah. Thank you, Jaya. I would like to thank the UN Youth Envoy's Office and everybody involved, all organizations involved, for this opportunity. Thank you for inviting me, Juna and Emma. We're very pleased to share our experiences and work towards empowering youth and women all over the world. My name is Safat Ahmed Zahir, and I'm from the Maldives. I'm the founder and president of an organization named Women in Democracy, which primarily works towards women's rights and improving the lives of women and promoting women in democracy, in the country. We also advocate for good democratic governance in the country. We believe that women are a powerful force for change, and we advocate for women's representation in the political and economic arena and in political leadership. When we formed Women in Democracy, our main aim was to increase female representation in policy making and to equip women who are passionate, about, being in leadership, being in economic and political leadership, and giving them the necessary tools, for them to succeed. We strongly believe that a democracy cannot truly sustain and truly deliver, to all the citizens all over the world without the representation of women. So I'm very happy to be here. Thank you so much. And thank you for having us.
Thank you, Safat. Safat also served as one of the UN's SDG Young Leaders in her capacity as the founder of Women and Democracy in the Maldives. So we are very thankful to Safat for bringing her activism in the Maldives to the international stage as well. It's now my great pleasure to go from the south in the Indian subcontinent, because I'm calling you from Colombo and Safat is calling you from Maldives, to Europe. We have Djuna Bernard, the Vice President of the Chamber of Deputies of Luxembourg, joining us. Djuna, over to you for a brief introduction.
Thank you so much, Jayatman. Thank you all for having me here today. I feel truly honored to be able to speak in front of you today. Let me present myself. My name is Djuna. I am from Luxembourg, this tiny little country in the heart of Europe, where I am in the lucky position to be in parliament, and not only being in parliament, but also being the vice president of the Luxembourgish parliament, which is a great honor. And I think many of you will understand that having a young woman below the age of 30 as a VP of a parliament isn't something very common, and I feel even more humble to be able to represent young people also via this position. I have been involved into youth activities and policies via the Scout movement, where I did the whole career from being a young scout, and then became a trainer, became a leader, and was also serving within the scout movement. Then I joined also the National Youth Council, where I became active in shaping youth advocacy within my country, but also within the European networks of the Youth Forum. And I got the opportunity to learn a lot about youth participation, about volunteering, about non-formal education, and making young people's voices heard even better, and not only voices heard, but also get them into active participation and shaping policies, which I am very lucky to be doing right now myself. And of course, topics like culture, social topics, but also education and youth are among my portfolios. And I'm very, very happy that I can now participate in shaping youth policies from the inside, with a direct dialogue and exchange with many youth movements and organizations in my country.
Thank you so much, Djuna, for that introduction. And now from Europe, we are going to Africa. We have Emma Theophilus. Emma is a member of Parliament and Deputy Minister of Communications, Information and Technology in Namibia. Emma, over to you for a quick introduction.
Thank you very much, Jaya. Thank you for having me. To all the people that planned this youth summit, it's a pleasure to join you today. As introduced, my name is Emma Theophilus. I am a member of Parliament and also the Deputy Minister of Information and Communication Technology in the Republic of Namibia. Of course, I was only appointed a year ago at the age of 23 by His Excellency the President Hage Geingob, where I was the youngest at the time, because just a couple of days ago, His Excellency appointed another young person to Parliament at the age of 22. So really, Namibia, there's a strong commitment to young people's participation in politics. And before I became a member of Parliament and a Deputy Minister, I used to be the junior mayor of the city of Windhoek, which is our capital city in Namibia. I also was a member of the Children's Parliament and transitioned now into politics. And my role as Deputy Minister now is, of course, to communicate government activities and programs, but also to prepare the country for the fourth industrial revolution. So, of course, I was appointed at a time where COVID-19 hit the whole world, and our country was not spared. And because of that, and the work related to communications at a time where virus engulfed all our processes and systems in our way of life, we launched the COVID-19 Communication Center, where we gave daily updates to the Namibian people about COVID-19 to, of course, regain their trust in the government's efforts in trying to, of course, take care and keep them safe. But also recently, in my role as a member of parliament, I launched a project called Bring a Buddy to Parly. So it's basically a project to invite and bring together a group of young people to make them aware of Parliament's processes, to understand that we are the representative of them, the people, the sovereigns, and that we have a role to play in ensuring that they're informed about the laws that we're making.
Thank you so much, Emma. I think we've had some fantastic introductions. We know our speakers a little bit better now, but I'm also so happy that our speakers stick to the time that was given to them, which means that we can run with the program as planned. See, when you give the opportunity to young people, they stick by the rules. They also play by the rules, and they are respectful to each other. So first, let me go back to Safat now. Safat, I want to dive deep into something that you mentioned in your introductory remarks about the struggles that young people face when it comes to participating in politics or public life. And you specifically spoke about the challenges of young women and girls. I want to dive deep into this. Tell us a little bit more about the challenges that you face and the challenges that you see other young women face when it comes to entering into politics or public office.
Yes, in terms of, young people and young women, women both are highly marginalized from mainstream politics. There are a lot of, reasons and a lot of challenges behind this, obviously. The exclusion is mainly combined, with a limited educational opportunities, access to quality education, which is a very huge issue in the Maldives, which I believe, for someone like me, I'm very privileged and I feel humbled to have had the opportunity to, gain an education. But I think, we need to have a mechanism in countries like, Maldives and in the developing countries, where we need to provide, young people and young women with the opportunity for, access to, quality education. There are also limited economic opportunities, to particularly to marginalized communities and marginalized populations. And, in terms of Maldives, when we speak about that, that lays, towards the geographic dispersion. But I'm sure that a lot of countries face similar issues, whereby due to the geographic dispersion, a lot of marginalized communities are, very much sidelined, and this, when we delve into this, the main issue is, within these communities, where are the opportunities for young people? Where are the opportunities for young women? Today's youth, they need real opportunities to participate in the political process. And this involves, a mechanism or a platform where they can contribute practical solutions. If we see today's youth, the X generation, the millennials, they are very, creative, very innovative. They need a platform to voice out their opinions, and they need a platform where you can welcome them. Personally, from my experience, let me also add a few more words. I think, young women face a lot of, harassment and online harassment. Spread of misinformation is also there, and subject to a lot of abuse as well. And lastly, a lot of reluctance and hesitation. Personally, I have faced whereby people have said to me, like, you are too young, you should be involved in in building a family. These are things that you are subject to hear in these parts of the world. So I think we need to create a very encouraging environment, and changing our mindset and our thinking, and encourage young women to come out there. And I think together, as a women power force, we need to come strongly against all sorts of harassment and abuse against women. Yeah.
Thank you, Safat, for those reflections. And I think you raised some really important points. I also, you just reminded me of this research that I read, that the barriers to young women's political participation actually are at different layers. Some at personal level, where they're constantly being told they're not good enough, or that, the sort of things that take their self-confidence down when it comes to going out there and putting themselves for campaigning. And then at the social level, sort of, what you wear, what you do, that scrutiny, those the harassment and what you face in the eye of the public. And then also at a more structural level, like in political parties, how women do not often get leadership roles in the political parties themselves, or nominations to run for political office. Sometimes in places where there are quotas, they're not implemented. So I think we've just scratched the surface of a conversation that is extremely important. Now, with this, let me go to Emma. Emma, Safat spoke to us about how difficult it is for young women to get in. And we know that once you get in, also, it's not an easy journey. There are so many issues that then you have to sort of in this next phase that you have to face. And one of that is this stereotyping of young women's leadership to specific areas. If you're a young person, you can lead the youth ministry. Or if you're a young woman, you can maybe involved in the gender portfolio, or some, soft sort of culture and art and these things, but not sort of, hard issues like security, like climate, and areas that young people actually have expertise in. And you are Deputy Minister for Communications and Information Technology, an extremely important subject in sort of digitization and moving your country forward. What has this experience been for you, and how are these stereotypes affecting your work, and how do you see these stereotypes affecting the leadership of young women and girls?
Thank you so much, Jaya, for that question. I must say, you just sort of highlighted exactly what my experience has been. I'm a law graduate. My specialty is in law. But law, the good thing about a law degree, it gives you a very good foundation to touch into a lot of areas. I could talk intellectual property. I can talk technology. But there was a lot of questions at my appointment to say, one, Emma is too young. She's only 23 years old. She's just, starting up in her career. Why information technology? But many forget that many of the startups that we have today are run by young people around technology and information communication. And many are only realizing the connect now. Then also I have my role as a member of parliament. Recently, I tabled a motion to either reduce tax on female menstrual products or to zero rate them completely. And there are a lot of questions online about, no, but she's the Deputy Minister of Information Communication Technology. Why is she tabling something around menstrual health? But the truth of the matter is, I'm a member of parliament first before I'm a Deputy Minister. And I do have some sort of dual responsibility to not only advance information communication technology solutions in government, I also have a role towards women, young people, the girl child. And also I have a passion for that group of areas, so I can dabble into both. So these restrictions that they try to put on young people's participation in politics, even at the time where more and more people must actually see that it's an opportunity for us to be able to contribute holistically to the issues that are impeding development in our countries. If tomorrow I want to touch on entrepreneurship, so I can ensure that more and more young people get the necessary financing in entrepreneurship, more people should be wanting to assist me with that, as opposed to questioning why I'm dabbling into trade issues because I'm not a trade deputy minister. So really, as young people, we understand the multifaceted issues that are affecting young people. It's just not technology and the issue around the digital divide. It's just not sexual reproductive health rights. It's also the livelihood of having the necessary finances to go to school. It's education. It's So as young people, we are more in tune with the understanding of that, because we are at a time where many young people, such as us, although we're in the political arena, in sort of careers across the board, where they need policies and systems that are able to grow their careers and their livelihoods. And lo and behold, I will make sure I will dabble in anything I can dabble in to ensure that young people in Namibia are catered for.
Thank you very much, Emma. I cannot stress the importance of what you just said in terms of looking at development, looking at poverty eradication, looking at human rights in a holistic way. You reminded me of another personal example where people usually ask me for an example, what is your favorite sustainable development goal? And I struggle to answer, because you cannot really have, one over the other, because you cannot realize one over the other. You cannot realize gender equality if you do not address climate action. You cannot realize climate action if you do not address decent employment. So all of these are interlinked. The issues that our world facing today are interconnected, interlinked, and they have to be addressed in a holistic approach. So more power to you. Go out there and dabble in as many as issues you can from your expertise and from your power. Juna, what Emma just said, I'm sure resonates a lot with you as well in your context as a member of the parliament, and particularly looking at also how young people have been so active on social issues. We've seen young people calling for democracy right now in places like Myanmar. We see them even losing their lives asking for democratic change in their countries. We see young people on the streets demanding for climate action, fighting for abortion rights in countries like Argentina, in Ireland. How do we bridge this? How do we engage young people who are active in social issues in political life, in political activism? Or should we not engage them? Should we ask them to be outside of the systems and continue their activism? What is your take on this?
Yeah, it's a good question, and it's definitely something where I'm experiencing. On the same time, we have these huge movements of young people thinking of Fridays for Future, who have become really, really big because of social engagement of so many young people from all areas of the world. And on the same time, we are also witnessing a lack in trust in political structures, in political parties, in governance, in parliament. So on the same time, we have two different movements coming up. And for me, if people ask me, how do we deal with this? What is this dynamic that is happening out there? I say, first of all, it's so important for each and every one of us to get engaged into the cause that you're having fond on your heart, and it can be very local. It can be in your local association doing something around garbage. It can be something within your youth club. It can also be on an NGO level where it's more formalized, where it's more structured. We have national youth councils, we have national youth parliaments, stuff like that. Or you choose to be more in the grassroots field, where you really try to push, maybe from a more outsider's perspective, you try to push your topics and you make pressure on it. Because honestly, being within the political bubble, I realize how much we need social pressure from organizations of young people rising their voices, going to the streets and making their voices heard. And I think the whole system is only working of this interconnection, once again, of these different actors. So I think everyone has to find its own way of getting involved. Not everyone is happy in a political world, and that's fine. But everyone needs to find his way of, trying to make this world better and defending a cause. And that's the whole point.
Thank you, Juna. I think you raised an important point, and I want to switch our order a little bit, because what you just said really focuses on what I wanted to ask Emma, which is Juna speaking about how different young people choose to express them differently, right? Some like to protest, some likes to use art and culture, some like to use technology. And we have to support and respect every way that young people choose to express themselves. So as a young person in politics who are in the inside, how can you support your peers or those young people who have been in politics, who are in politics, who are inside the room? How can they support their peers who at the end of the day have the same aspirations as they are and have the same goals to achieve in terms of the development of their countries and in our world?
Thank you so much, Jaya. And what Juna said really resonates with what I was thinking about in respect to that. That before, for example, I became a member of parliament and a deputy minister, I was always policy adjacent, and I was not the only one. There's so many other young people who are still policy adjacent, but the experience I've had is one important thing to do is not to disconnect from those people, because me being able now to, for example, have a call away from the prime minister of the country, I must be able to tap into the issues that they are having difficulty with. Because of course, now that I'm a member of parliament and a deputy minister of a designated ministry, most of my time will be geared towards those specific areas. But because I have the connection and the network to them, I must be able to bring the attention of certain issues to the people around me who are in the same system that I am in now. So it's important to, one, always have that connection to those young people who are policy adjacent, and as you put it, Jaya, having the aspirations like mine. But more importantly also is to try to connect them to changes. I can tell you, last year when I was appointed, at a time where, because everything was a standstill, a lot of people tried to bring their activism online. I was constantly linking up youth organizations to that minister and that member of parliament and to that judge, because I have now almost become a bridge between these young people and government. And I take that role very seriously, because the more young people we have in systems and structures like this, the stronger the bridge becomes. And the stronger we're able to connect activism to real policy change and for us to see real action and real results. And that role, although it's very silent, although it's not tangible in respect of it being shown wherever, it does make a difference, because now we have more and more young people who are volunteering to even give advice and direction and their voice into policies. When young people say nothing without us that is for us, that's becoming a reality. And I can attest this, just 1 year in my country, it's becoming a reality when more and more young people, because a 23-year-old has been announced as a member of parliament and deputy minister, more and more people are trusting young people to give them advice around issues. And that is such a beautiful thing to see. And I can only hope that resonates with the rest of the world, and more young people sit at those tables where networks of young policymakers actually inspire a generation of young people who will always be policy adjacent.
Absolutely, Emma. Let me go to Juna with that, because I think you just mentioned something very important, which is how we build bridges across the different spectrum in order to bring not only young people's issues, but their advice and their solutions as drivers and as leaders as well. And I think that's the most important part of the conversation we are having today. Juna, I want to go back to the question that I also asked Emma earlier, and then she gave a fantastic answer from a personal experience of her introducing this different bill from what people would expect her to present. When young people are involved, we still see their involvement being branded or labeled as youth engagement or being limited to youth issues. What are some tactics? What are some strategies we can use to make sure that young people are not only involved in youth issues, but every issue that has an impact on their future?
Yeah, that's a good question. Actually, I think we also need some structural change here. I'm very happy to be in a party that has established double chairs of the party, and tries to make sure that always a young person, or in our case at the moment, there are 2 young people below 30 are heads of the party. So already giving them important positions, which allows them to learn, but also have a real seat at the table and not an alibi seat, because that's the risk that is happening. And you might notice the ladder of participation, where often youth involvement is like put there because we all look nice in a picture and everyone can say, oh, we have young people involved, but it's much more than that. So we need to fight also for structural changes within the structures, and make sure that young people are really sitting there and are taken seriously. And I think, well, in my personal case, of course, it takes some courage to run, of course, but also courage to speak up and fight for those portfolios. And of course, at the same time, you also need to work rather hardly, because I need to get into the topics and need to be a serious person at the other side of the table, so they take me seriously. And it needs also a culture of elder or more experienced people that take young people seriously from the start and give them the chance. And I think it's the mix of the 3 that is important there. And of course, young people who are in the system already can help to facilitate that. And I think that's also a duty and a task that I give to myself now, sitting in Parliament, encouraging young people to do this, but also helping them in their way through, as Emma has said as well.
Thank you very much, Juna. Now, let me remind all of you again, you can send us your questions and comments and reflections on the chat box. And I will be receiving your questions very shortly. But before that, I want to quickly ask Safat. Safat, we usually also see that young people's engagement being treated as it's a favor that is being done for young people. Sort of, it's because young people ask for it, or we should give young people this opportunity. But governments and leaders and policies also benefit from having young people. So how do we switch this conversation to the other side? How do we talk about what benefits will it give to governments and political parties and political leaders and countries in general if they have more young women and more young people in politics?
Yes, the positive impact of women and young people in politics is undisputable. As and when more women get elected, or young women get elected, there's a corollary increase in policy making, which focuses on the promotion of women's rights, youth rights, also focuses on promoting families, the vulnerable populations, and the marginalized communities. Now, of course, this is not me saying, it's backed by empirical research and case studies, whereby it's seen that when particularly young women and women get engaged in politics and in elected office, they work, across party lines. Women are very highly responsive to their constituent needs. They're highly engaged with their constituents, highly active, in their communities. It also shows that, getting more women into elected office also, it reduces corruption, which is very interesting. And there was one interesting thing the other day I read. Actually, now it's been said that when women, get, it's always very, debatable and, put in a very, in a very taboo way that, women are highly emotional. But now it's, it's moving towards another angle, that when women are actually emotional, better decisions are made, because women actually holistically think about all the issues, especially when it comes to families, women, children, the elderly, the marginalized communities. So, emotional decision making is also quite good, because it takes into account the needs, of everyone, particularly the needs of, those in need. So these are, some of the very, very important things. Also, we must understand that, young women politicians, are not just solely focused on gender-biased issues. They are more holistic, and economical in the long run. For example, reforms in agendas to access and costs of higher education, for example, and the forgiving student debt loan. If you see, in the United States, this is very highly talked about issues now to, forgive the student debt, particularly by the young women congresswomen. So these are very, very important. And I just wanted to say that, in order to meet, our worldwide development goals and to build strong, sustainable democracies, young women and young people, must be encouraged, empowered, and supported, to come front. Yeah.
That's a fantastic way to wrap up that segment. Thank you, Safad. We are running out of time, but I really, really want to respond to at least one or two of the questions that our audience has sent us. So we have the first question for Juna. Putri from Singapore is asking from Juna, were there any mentors in politics that you could look up to?
Hi, Putri. That's a good question. So yeah, I have been asked by one of our more experienced ministers actually to run for election, and he was strongly encouraging me. So I think that he really pushed me a bit, and I needed this push in order to convince myself that I was able to do that. And I think that really helped in the end. And now that I am in office, I have the chance that I have two other female politicians from my party who are already ministers. I can ask them everything, and they are kind of mentors now at the moment in my role, and they have been experiencing similar situations. So it feels good to have some trusted person in this process, because sometimes you don't know what to do and how to react, and it's important to have people that you can trust and that they support you.
Definitely. Thank you so much, Juna. Emma, there is a question for you, I think, from Milena. Milena is asking, how do you practice self-care when you're doing such a tedious job?
Ooh, that's a really good one. And I'm so glad, Milena, you asked that. It took a while for me to actually determine that I needed to take self-care, especially in 2020 when the pandemic was at its peak, and there was a lot of work that needed to be done, so many meetings to decide how government's action was going to protect people. But I quickly got into yoga. That helped me a lot. I did a lot of yoga just to calm my mind at a time where I was working 7 days a week, unfortunately, at the time. And also just being close to my family and friends. Whether it's through virtually or socially distancing at a time when the lockdowns were lifted. That support system really helped me to stay grounded and to feel like I had the support I needed when I was not getting through with something or frustrated about something. So yoga and family and friends support was the core thing at the time. But now I can diversify as the restrictions have been lifted. But it's important to really do some yoga, catch up on sleep, and have the support of family, friends. That has been my self-care.
Thank you so much, Emma. I think we also have another question for Safad. Safad, we have a question from Sri Harini addressed to you. How influential are online discussions like forums for youth activism in the political agenda or even the political participation of youth? So I think the question is referring to the influentialness of online forums and conversations when it comes to youth activism in political life. Safat, what is your answer?
Yeah, thank you, Sri, for the question. Yes, it's extremely important because, even for yourself, if you are, just curious or, passionate about, engaging in the political field and to voice out your opinion, it gives a very great platform for young people to get engaged. When we actually host a number of workshops every year, and every year a lot of new faces, a lot of new young people, a lot of new people, they come together, be it whether they're curious, be it whether they just want to get to know of some information, or be it that they're very passionate to contribute to the country, to community development. It gives a very great platform to engage, for networking. And I highly encourage, you to also host that, in your country, or take part in those sessions, because you get to meet new people. You'll get a lot of opportunities to network, and just for your curiosity and even for your knowledge, it's just an amazing way to get engaged. I really encourage that. Thank you.
Definitely. Thank you very much, Safad. We're running out of time, so I just want to go back to our speakers for 30 seconds, literally 30 seconds. What is the one thing that you want to tell our participants today? What is the one thing that you would like all the young women and girls watching us to take home? Emma.
Oh, you didn't give me a lot of time there, Jaya, to think about that. But one thing I would say is do not stop your activism in whatever you do. Even if you don't aspire to be a politician, it's important for young people's voices to appear in the various spaces that exist of decision making, both in private and public sector. But being on this side, I would say support young people in politics. They're already facing a lot of pushback from the older generations within the system. It doesn't help if you're on the outside and you don't give them support as well. So it's important that you continue to support them. And you must know that they're trying their best to ensure your issues are represented. So continue holding them to task and keeping them accountable, but support them as best as you can.
Thanks, Emma. Juna.
Stop doubting and start doing, guys out there. Try to find the courage within you and reach for the stars, because I think we are a generation with so much potential, with so many opportunities. Use them and take the courage. It's inside you, feel it, and I think we all together as a generation can move mountains with this.
Thank you, Juna. Safad.
Yes, I would like to tell to all young people, and particularly young women, to believe in yourself and to come out forward. It does, like Emma has mentioned, it does not necessarily always mean that you need to come out in the political field, be it in the economic sector, be it in the social sector, as Juna has mentioned. Go for it, and believe in yourself. And if you are stuck or struggling, find someone who is experienced, also, hear from them, because their experience, their knowledge, it really adds value to your life and add values to what you want to do in life, so listen to them and go for it, and always believe in what you do. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Safad. So that wraps up our panel discussion today. My job was so easy because our speakers were fantastic. They mentioned everything we wanted to discuss in our good conversation today, and also made sure that there was such a fantastic flow. So I feel extremely honored that I could share this time with Juna, Safad, and Emma, and all of you who are watching us and sending us comments and feedback. Please do stay engaged. And now I pass the floor back to our fantastic MCs.
Thanks,
Wow.
Jackman. Yeah, wow.
That
You
was just-
are fantastic. Amazing, amazing, amazing.
Yeah, that panel was so powerful, an all-woman panel. I mean, I am from YWCA. I work with women all the time, but this was just on another level. Safat, Juna, Emma, Jayatama, I don't think I could have, asked for a better session. So I think, Felipe, after such a mind-boggling session, let's move ahead.
For sure. I want to say that we are totally taking this topic from Brazil. I have a lot of friends of me that sending me messages right now during the session, and they say, oh my God, look to this session. It was really, really amazing. You girls are amazing. And now, today we're gonna have another break as we have yesterday, but before this break, we have two special videos. During the break, we want you to get up, go walk around, take care of yourself, of course, use masks, wash your hands. But during the break, please take out from the screen, from your cell phone, take your time. We're gonna have some minutes. But before this break, we have two special videos for you guys about the importance of young people. The first one will talk about violence against children. And after, we're gonna see the Queen of Malaysia and the Ministry of Education of Malaysia. But first, we're gonna see this video after the break, okay? Check these videos now.
Dear children and young people, warm greetings to you all. Children and young people are critical for ensuring a safer and more inclusive world. You are the experts, and no one better than you knows the challenges you face. Your creativity, resilience, and sense of solidarity are remarkable. All over the world, children and young people are organizing and taking action on issues that are important for them. We see increasing worldwide children activism, children engagement as human rights defenders, peace builders. More and more, they are defending and advocating for climate, social justice, equality and equity, social inclusion, child protection from all forms of violence. In these challenging times of COVID-19, children and young people around the world are coming together, taking collective action and creating support systems. You yourselves have been playing a key role in reaching out to other children, especially those who need help the most. Positive change is not possible without involving children and young people as part of the solution in accelerating the implementation of the 2030 agenda while building back better after the pandemic. This requires decision makers to provide empowering pathway for children to become drivers of change. Empowered children turn into empowered young people who will turn into empowered adults. In my work as special representative, I have consistently been emphasizing the crucial role of children and young people as leaders and agents of positive change. Dear children and young people, I truly hope that your experience during this summit will inspire you to act more to reach the most vulnerable children and bring change to build a better world. I stand ready to work closely with all of you in building peaceful, healthy, just, inclusive, protective, and safe society with and for children and young people.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. I am indeed very honored and delighted to be invited by the World Association of Girl Guides and Girl Scouts, OAGS, to address the Global Youth Mobilization, an initiative by the World Health Organization, or WHO, and the Big Six youth organizations. As a member of the Girl Guides and Girl Scouts movement, and as royal patron of the Nation Girl Guides Association, I'm very proud to be part of this initiative. I wish to congratulate the World Health Organization and the Big Six youth organization for being proactive in recognizing the positive response that young people could contribute to address the COVID-19 pandemic and playing an active role in the road to recovery by creating this platform and resources to support them. Young people are full of energy, talents, and creativity. The pandemic year has shown us how resourceful young people are in continuing to learn and adapt despite having major disruptions in their education. We have seen young people volunteering, supporting frontliners, raising public awareness, and at the least, being a responsible citizen by observing the guidelines in preventing the spread of COVID-19. We have also seen the efforts that youth organizations like the Big Six have put in to ensure that learning does not stop for young people despite all the disruptions. Non-formal education has been adapted to be done by young people at home and virtually. In fact, more international connections contributing to mutual understanding and the world peace happen through many virtual events and programs involving young people from different countries during this time. I urge all governments, businesses, and communities to support young people through the Global Youth Mobilization Initiative. To all the young people out there, be brave, stand up, and take initiative to help this world recover to a better normal.
Greetings to all. On behalf of the Malaysian government, we are honoured to be invited to address the Global Youth Summit and extremely proud that young people from our country are part of this high-level conversation, playing their parts as active citizens of the world. COVID-19 has no doubt interrupted formal education of many young people, and Malaysia is not spared. The government of Malaysia, in particular the Ministry of Education, is committed to support young people in this challenging time and will strive to lead everyone into a better normal. The past years during the pandemic has shown us children and young people are creative, innovative, and adaptability, which drive them to find solutions in learning. Hence, it is high time to strengthen our education system to support this generation in recognizing their strengths and mobilizing them to be more empowered in their own learning journey. On behalf of the Government of Malaysia, we pledge to support the Global Youth Mobilization Initiative not only nationally, but in any parts where we can play a role regionally and globally. Thank you.
Welcome back, everyone, from the break. I hope you had a wonderful break because now it's time for mine and Felipe's favorite part, which is the Energizer. So, what's the Energizer going to be about today, Felipe?
For sure. It's a fast break, and now in our Energizer, we're gonna talk about music instruments. Yesterday, we talked about dance. I asked for all you guys to stand up and move your bodies. Yeah, it's pretty fun. And today, I'm gonna ask you something, and I need you guys to answer in the comments. Do you guys play any instrument? Do you play any instrument, Namrata?
Yep, I used to play the piano and I loved it. What about you?
Yeah, nice. I love piano too. I love to hear piano. I don't know how to play it. I like to play drums. Yeah, and the video that we're gonna play today, it's about drums. So let's rock it in 3, 2, 1. Let's go.
Felipe, it's over. Felipe.
Oh, sorry.
That was
As I
so
said,
cool.
I love drums. I love drums. I also put my professional earphones to listen better. But now let's focus. Let's get back to our global youth mobilization.
Session number 2. Yeah,
Session number 2. Let's go. And now, after this break, I would like to talk about a topic that I love. Of course, I love all the topics we are talking here, but this one, it's really good too. We're gonna talk about local solution because our big projects starts from smaller projects. Do you have any kind of project like in your home, in your city, maybe in your country? Did you participate of any project? Don't forget this, bigger projects start from smaller ones. The most important thing is this, start. Yeah. And now let's welcome Andrea, and we'll talk with us now about this local solution. The floor is yours.
Hello, everyone. Thank you so much, Felipe, for greeting me. Good morning, good day to you. Good evening. Thank you for joining us. I'm so happy to be here. Today, I'll be your moderator, your host. My name is Andrea Remes. I'm from Mexico. And today, we'll be talking about local solution, as Felipe said. This is a key strategy to global youth mobilization for supporting young people to alleviate the negative impact of COVID-19. You might be wondering what local solutions are. These are small grants that young people all over the world can apply for to implement innovative solutions to local challenges arising from all these negative effects of COVID-19 and the COVID-19 pandemic. So we want to know a bit more about you. Where are you joining us from? Please put the comments here, both in the YouTube channel and the Unit platform. And you can ask questions to our panelists or speakers, so please go ahead and do so. So first of all, I want to welcome everyone. Thank you so much for being here. Noor, Ian, and Ahmed, they're young people doing local solutions in their hometowns. Thank you so much for being here, as well as Chris Milligan and Sanjay, both joining us from USAID and UNICEF. So everyone, welcome. Thank you so much for being here. Noor, can you tell us a bit more about what you're doing and where you're from?
Yes, for sure. Hello, everyone, and thank you for being here and for your efforts. I'm delighted to be here as well. So I'm Noor Awad. I'm currently a medical student in Lebanon with a psychology undergrad degree. So for the last year, I have been volunteering with Embrace. It's a mental health NGO with a suicide hotline and also a grassroots initiative, Be Brave Beirut. So mostly my work consists of offering support, crisis intervention, suicide risk assessment to distressed individuals. Because throughout the past year, we as Lebanese have endured an economic and political crisis, a revolution, a pandemic, and the Beirut blast on August 4th. So all these unfortunate events come with a wave of frustration, anxiety, and a burden of emotions. So we focus on offering psychosocial support and education for people to feel better, to understand their feeling, to express it, and feel supported during this tough time.
Thank you so much, Noor. This sounds delightful and really important. I think youth in general have been struggling a lot with mental health. It's a really important job what you're doing. Thank you so much for doing this. Ian, what have you been doing in Malaysia? I want to know a bit more about you.
Thank you, Andres. At the beginning of the pandemic, More One Virus started as an initiative in response to Dr. Tedros' call to young people. It was at the point whereby young people were said to be uncooperative with public health measures that were enforced, and we thought that, well, as a medical student like myself and like my other fellow colleagues that we have worked with, though we may not be able to treat patients, and nurses and doctors are busy on the front line, but we realized that we can be that alternative voice to work on translating this so-called misinformation or so-called good guidances produced by the WHO, by the CDC, and make it relevant to young people around the world. Because a lot of times all these guidances were in English. And when we realized that we as young people, we have that capacity, we have that voice, and we need to realize our roles. And that's essentially what we did to mobilize other young people within our community, help others around us understand what all this misinformation is going around and what exactly to protect themselves. And for leaders around the world, I hope to take this opportunity to call upon your support and for you to meaningfully engage with us, and in order to solve a problem like misinformation, we need to realize that it's an issue, and we need to find creative solutions to solve it. And what we did, in a nutshell, is by using digital filters on Instagram and using simple means like translation to get our point across. Thank you.
Thanks, Ian. That's very true.
Thanks so much, Ian. Apologies to all. We're having some slight technical challenges with sound. Andrea is going to be back in a bit. My name is Hannah, and I'm just going to jump in to continue with the session. Thank you, Ian, so much for the wonderful introduction, and we're so happy to have you with us talking about more viral than the virus. And we're going to go now to Nigeria, to Ahmed Abdul Qadir, who is going to tell us about his work with his team on creating innovative ways to enable out-of-school children to continue learning during the pandemic. Ahmed, we're with you.
Hello, everyone. My name is Abdul Qadir from Nigeria, and I would like to tell you a short story. This beautiful cup was made by a 15-year-old Falmata, currently in an IDP camp. Before being displaced, she lived with her parents. Her father, a fisherman, though not educated, made it possible for Falmata and her siblings to obtain formal education. Falmata had a dream of becoming a doctor, but got her dreams cut short when an insurgency group attacked her village, killed her father, burnt down her school, and kidnapped some of her peers. She managed to escape along with her mother to reach safety in a small community in May. Her education was interrupted, and Falmata started hawking in the camp to survive. It took a lot of convincing for her mother to allow her enroll into our blended online and offline community learning initiative, Street to School, where young boys and girls between the ages of 10 to 20 learn basic numeracy and literacy skills, in addition to life skills such as local handcraft production, like the one I'm wearing. Learning takes place at our users' convenient time, pace, local language, and in safe spaces provided to us by the Bulama, that is their community leader. This provides them the opportunity to be creatives, problem solvers, while learning at the right level. Income from the sale of these caps goes to support Falmata and her peers to stay in school and access to a free meal after school. During the COVID-19 pandemic, taking with regards to all the restrictions, we piloted our learning model by enrolling 125 IDPs. 40% were females, and we mobilized 26 youth volunteers who are mostly students from tertiary institutions who have so far provided 120 hours of learning in the last 3 months. Our vision is to equip 2,000 young boys and girls from marginalized communities in across the Bay States in northeastern Nigeria with the necessary skills required for them to be productive and engaged citizens by the year 2023. Over.
Ahmed, that was wonderful and such impactful work you and your team are doing. Congratulations on all the excellent and dedicated work that you do. We are so happy and glad that you could join us for this session. It was amazing to hear from Noor, from Ian, and from Ahmed. And we actually also have a couple of very special guests with us today. We have Chris Milligan joining us from USAID, and we also have Sanjay Vijaksera joining us from UNICEF. We are extremely happy and honored to have you both with us. And I understand that both of you are actually very excited to ask some of our speakers some questions. So I'm going to go to Sanjay first. Sanjay, over to you.
I want to say thank you very much for that. And yes, indeed, we're very excited. And some of the solutions that you're talking about are really, really exciting. I mean, all of them. I had a question. I mean, I have questions for all of you, but maybe one to Ahmed, because also it's a area of part of the world that I've been to. I've been to Maiduguri, and it's wonderful area, wonderful people, but of course a few challenges. So and congratulations for what you're working on, because I know it's a really important issue, the out of school children, so what I wanted to ask was, you were already working and developing solutions with Street to School before the pandemic. So you were already working on this issue. But of course, the pandemic made things even worse. So how did you adapt your work and your solutions to the additional complications, if you like, that the pandemic brought? Thank you.
Thank you very much, Sanjay, for that very important question. Even before the pandemic, Nigeria had one of the highest number of out-of-school children, and the Generation Unlimited Youth Challenge gave us the opportunity to provide our own sustainable solution to this. Initially, our solution was just meant to be an offline learning model, but because of the pandemic, we had to explore other collaborative forms of learning, which was easy, reliable, and which our target audience could still afford. Hence, we adapted to the use of free digital platforms like WhatsApp, which is widely used by young people, including our target audiences. We mostly use the voice notes, pictures, and small bite videos to engage and share learning content with participants. We created a community of 20 learners where we share contents in Hausa language, which is widely used and understood by participants. There we got positive feedbacks from teachers and learners. And again, since most households have access to radio, we are leveraging on that tool through a partnership with a few local radio stations so that our target audiences will have access to our learning contents and anywhere and anytime. And we did a 1-hour radio talk show around the importance of girl education and how young boys and girls can access learning in IDP camps. The talk show reached an estimated population of 5,000 listeners. Currently, we are exploring ways to partner with tech companies who can provide us with solar-powered radio, where we can pre-record audio lessons and using practical examples and drama. That we will be able to monitor and evaluate our participant progress. Thank you.
Thank you, Ahmed.
So much, Ahmed. Sorry, I'm back. So, Chris, go ahead.
Oh, thank you, Andrea. I have to say, we've heard some amazing work that's been done by our youth leaders. I have so many questions, but let me direct a question to Ian, because Ian, your initiative was so creative, so timely, and it has impacted so many lives. And your initiative, it grew quickly across multiple countries, included medical students from all over the world. How did you build these links? How did you activate peers to support this cause?
Thank you for that question, Chris. Well, to succinctly answer this, is this whole idea that we realize that we as medical students, although we're not able to treat patients just yet, but we have this burning desire to help. And we did this through simple forms of using, as what Abdul also mentioned, we use WhatsApp, we use Facebook, and we use Instagram. And these are the very primary form means that we can use to reach out. And this is how we coordinated a lot of our efforts using such using such platforms. And More Vulnerable basically has shown that it can be done. It can be done because we have had no funding at all, and we have supported this and been doing this since the beginning of the pandemic. And I just want to commend this whole Global Youth Mobilization Initiative with the funding for other local youth to support this initiative by applying for the funding. Because I think with the funding that's available, I think that you can do so much change within your own local communities. And that's essentially how we did it to mobilize other youth. Thank you for your question.
Thank you so much, Ian. Wonderful to hear about your initiative. And I believe Chris has one more question for Noor. Chris.
I do. I do have a question for Noor. And Noor, Lebanon has had a very difficult year. And I want you to know that we're all standing with the people of Lebanon through this difficult year. But you mentioned you've been providing mental health support to peers over this past year. And what motivated you to do this work? And how did you decide to take action?
Thank you, Chris. Thank you so much. So honestly, like these hard times opened my eyes to the unfortunate consequences of having limited access to healthcare. So I came to realize how important and how close we are as individuals to make a significant and true change and difference in the lives of others. We might not be able to change the course of action, the harsh circumstances, but I realized that there is something I can do. While it might not stop all of the suffering, there's always something we can give. And the tiniest bit of help, support, not judgment, can make a huge difference, not only in the life of others, but also in mine.
You're absolutely right, Andrea. Chris, I don't know if you had another reflection to share after Noor's question.
I just think it's so innovative, and I'm so impressed with all of our youth leaders here. And I just want to applaud your commitment to your communities. And you know, it's besides inspiring you, I'd love to know more about how you use networks, how you built teams going forward.
Noor, would you like to answer a little bit further?
Yes. So actually, like for example, the Be Brave Beirut, the grassroots initiative, was started throughout the graduates, Lebanese psychology graduates. So we gathered each other the funders gathered all their friends, the people they know that are into psychology and have been like trained into psychology, and we established this group of network. And through Instagram, like we have previously mentioned, we have Instagram, we have Facebook, even on LinkedIn, so people can access it. They go through a link where they can put like their number or where they want us to contact them, and we contact them through that. So it can also stay anonymous at times.
It's a wonderful solution, Noor, and so great to hear how simple sometimes things can be. You can just reach out to your friends and your networks that are already existing to set up a project, and that's exactly the kind of things that we're looking for in the local solutions. I know that all three of you, our youth speakers, have some excellent advice to share with all of the young people who are now already super eager to apply for our local solutions. And I'd like to invite each of you to tell us a little bit more about the support that you had for implementing your solutions, and what do you think that your peers need to have in their networks, in their communities, in order to be successful with implementing innovative solutions to the challenges that all of our societies face, not only in light of the COVID-19 pandemic, but much, much broader than that. So Ian, I would like to invite you to start first with some tips that you would like to share.
Thank you, Hannah, for that. Well, to begin with, we need to remember one thing, that we are all in this together. And in order for us to really get through this, we really need to work together. We need to collaborate. So, I mean, instead of comparing which initiative is better, who is doing more, we need to find a common ground together to work through this. And I think one of the things that helped us reach this height is the receptiveness of WHO reaching out to work with young people. And we have worked with WHO, we've worked with many different stakeholders who are eager to work with young people. But what we need to do is to invest our time and also to work with other young people and be willing to work. It is the word, willingness and collaboration. And also solidarity for the way forward. Over.
Very, very powerful messages. Thank you so much, Ian. And indeed, all of our solutions are going to be much stronger if they work together and if we work in solidarity with one another. So thank you so much for sharing that. I'm going to pass it over to Noor. Noor, I believe you also have some very valuable advice to share.
Yes. So, for example, here in Lebanon, after the Beirut blast, we have seen different individuals and NGOs that each one of them contributed to the community throughout their own expertise. For example, we had the construction workers, we had everyone, the healthcare workers. So what I truly believe is important is for everyone to know their goal, to know what they want to add to the community, to know what the community needs. Like, if there are different resources for individuals in the community, but there is one lacking, and we are able to provide this, like the service throughout our studies, throughout our experience, throughout our knowledge, that would be a great, it would be a great start for us to be able to establish further a new solution.
Absolutely, Noor. Thank you so much for sharing. And indeed, so important to have clear intentions and goals and determination when you're establishing your local solution. Ahmed, I believe you also have some tips to share with our audience.
Yes, thank you. When you are implementing a local solution in your own community, first you have to remember that you have to do it for them, you have to do it by them, and you have to do it with them. In our own case, we solicited support from influencers in the community leaders. In Maiduguri, we call them the Bulama. They supported us in advocating to parents to allow their kids participate in the learning initiative. And also they provided us with safe spaces in their community to serve as learning centers. And again, the private sector, the civil society organizations within the community provided technical support to our team by providing spaces for us to come together and think, ideate. They did that because it's their corporate social responsibility. Again, the Generation Unlimited platform supported us through mentorship, acceleration, incubation, and some funds to pilot test our idea. And I think that is much needed. We need to create platforms for young people to harness their ideas, to harness their solution, so that young people will lead and reach their own their full potential. So platforms are important. Collaboration with community leaders are important. And once again, I have to mention Johannes from UNICEF Nigeria, who is the programs manager of Generation Unlimited, have served as a mentor to us throughout the process. So you need mentors. You need somebody that believes in your idea, that will support you throughout the process. Over.
That's wonderful, Ahmed, and such a powerful message in terms of what kind of support structures young people really need to make their solutions happen. It's not enough sometimes to just have the motivation and the idea. We need a nurturing environment that includes both the resources in terms of funding and human resources, but also mentors who can guide young people through developing their ideas. Very happy to hear about your experience with Generation Unlimited. And we are hoping exactly that through our collaboration with Generation Unlimited and the Global Youth Mobilization, we will be able to deliver a very, very good experience to all of those who are implementing local solutions. Now, I know both Sanjay and Chris also have some very important thoughts to share about how UNICEF and USAID are supporting young people, in particular during these pandemic times, and all of the strategies that their agencies are implementing. I'm going to go to Chris first and invite you to tell us a little bit more about USAID's work. Chris, over to you.
Thank you, Hannah. You know, USAID, we have missions across the globe, and we have seen firsthand how the pandemic has impacted on health and education and employment, and how it's affected young people disproportionately. And yet, as we've seen here today with Noor, Ahmed, and Ian, and around the world, we have seen young people be those emerging leaders. They're raising their hands and they're taking actions in their schools and families and communities. And they're well positioned to make that change. So our overall approach, it's not to direct youth, but to support their initiatives. Just like the philosophy of local solutions, there are no better partners than the diverse voices of young women and men in the countries where we work. So we have a global lead initiative, which is will engage and support over 1 million young change makers to support their issues that they see important, which include pandemic response and climate change and democratic governance and diversity and inclusion. We know that youth, like everyone listening today, we know you want to get involved and we want to help. So we're a supporter of youthlead.org. Youthlead.org is a virtual collaboration platform that connects young people to change makers. And that's what we heard today from our 3 young leaders, is those connections and networking, how to get informed, how to get more information. So check out youthlead.org. Finally, let me be clear. I'm not just a fan of just talking about youth. At USAID, we were the first bilateral donor to put a youth policy out to guide our 10,000 staff on how we see youth as important partners. We know together we can still do more. So we're looking forward to being a partner on the Global Youth Mobilization and Generation Unlimited, and help youth solve their community's most pressing problems. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Chris, and wonderful to hear about the work, both in YouthLead, youthlead.org. We know that young people can actually go and visit youthlead.org and get informed and understand how they can get engaged, because there's a number of amazing ways they can do that. And always very, very happy to collaborate with USAID. We are so excited about the potential there with the Global Youth Mobilization and together with our partners in Generation Unlimited. I'm going to hand it over also to Sanjay, because I believe he also has some thoughts to share on UNICEF's role.
Thank you very much. And again, wonderful to hear all the ideas and solutions that you've come up with, all 3 of you. And as UNICEF, we are, of course, an organization whose whole mission and mandate and existence is around children, adolescents, young people, and making sure that everyone reaches, has all their rights realized and reaches their full potential. So this is a really important agenda for us, and we're also really happy to be working on a number of fronts with many young people's organizations, and also, of course, our role as part of, if you like, a special role in bringing a nurturing Generation Unlimited and hosting it, and wonderful that it's having such an impact and supporting young people around the world. Last year was a really, really difficult year for all of us, and particularly though for children and young people who've missed schools, lost access to health and other services, remained isolated and lost contact with their friends. So we know that this was difficult, and it was particularly difficult for the most vulnerable children, those who live in poverty, have no access to internet, live in conflict situations, and so on. So that said, just like Chris mentioned, despite the crisis, or maybe even because of it, young people have confirmed their commitment and capacity to make the world a better place. And we really saw some good examples and heard some good examples of that. We're proud to support engagement of young people in COVID-19 response extensively. One example is in Congo-Brazzaville, where with one of the big 6 organizations, the Scouts, we jointly conducted a campaign which reached 380,000 people at bus stops and marketplaces. The response to the crisis was also an opportunity for us to address pre-COVID-19 issues. So, for example, in Brazil, on education, we helped municipalities to re-enroll more than 60,000 out-of-school children in the formal education program, so similar to the work that Ahmed was talking about. And in mental health, such as in Cambodia, we supported a communication campaign on mental health in the context of COVID, reaching about 2.8 million children, parents, and caregivers, some of the work that Noor was talking about. And more recently, through the COVAX facility for the vaccines, we're working with manufacturers and partners on the procurement of COVID-19 vaccine doses and making sure that they get to the people who really need it. So we continue to strengthen this engagement with adolescents and young people as key resources who offer valuable solutions and insights to the problems the world faces, and we do so by providing the kind of platforms to share their views, but also the kind of safe spaces for them to participate, so that some of the things that you mentioned already, providing opportunities for young people to co-design and implement solutions and to improve their own lives and communities. And this means helping every child and every young person to advocate for themselves in their families, at school, for their healthcare needs, as well as what you're doing to shape the world much broader, the world you live in. So partnership with youth organizations is one of our main strategies to engage with young people and help them to come up with their solutions. And we're looking at obviously continuing our work with the Big 6 and their constituencies to build back a better world for children and for young people. So thank you for that.
Thank you so much, Sanjay. Wonderful to hear about the very, very important mission of UNICEF and the amazing work that you've been doing in supporting young people all around the world in terms of not only education, but just their holistic growth and development. So wonderful to hear, Sanjay. And we are so proud at the Global Youth Mobilization to have a chance to partner with UNICEF and work together, both at a global level, but also at a local and national level. And now I'm going to pass on to a few questions from our audience. We've been getting so much engagement and we're so happy to see all of you being active on all the different channels. So thank you so much for sending those in. I'm unfortunately tight with time, so I'm going to try to address as many as possible. And let's see how we manage to go. So I have a question that I would like to address to Ian. I'd like to ask Ian, what do you think, Ian, especially given your background in terms of COVID-19 and the work that you have been doing in More Viral Than the Virus, what are some of the most effective ways in which young people can promote safe behaviors and prevention of COVID-19 in their societies?
Thank you for that question, Andrea. I think last year, it was a case whereby no one knew what COVID-19 was. This year, we know what COVID-19 is, but I guess it's this whole understanding of the impact that COVID-19 can bring if you're not careful, the consequences of that action. I think that needs to be highlighted in a sense when we're talking about vaccines, when we're talking about contracting the virus itself. So I think one of the most effective thing to bear in mind is the impact. And I'm keeping this short because I think this is in a nutshell what we really have to do. Yeah.
Thank you, Ian. Indeed, and very important, as you said, to keep in mind the impact of the measures that you take. I'm going to ask Noor the next question. Noor, how do you overcome the challenge of COVID-19 when it comes to mental health? And this, if you can elaborate a little bit more as an advice for all of the young people around the world who have been experiencing challenges when it comes to mental health issues, we'd love to hear how you have been helping those who have been accessing your hotline in Lebanon.
Thank you, Hannah. Thank you for the question. So as you mentioned, like throughout the pandemic, most of us have seen our mental health struggling. So what I think is really like the most important thing to first recognize is to be able to recognize what's happening to us, to be able to voice out our feelings, to be able to share our feelings. And what COVID has truly taught us during this pandemic, the importance of having support, of creating a support network and having a support around us. So it's also important to be able to share our feelings, our emotions, our frustrations with people we trust around us. And the most important thing is also to know that what we are feeling and what we are going through is okay during this period. We are in a period of frustration. We are in a period of a pandemic. So it's fine if we do not feel like, for example, being productive. So it's important also to be kind to ourselves, to understand ourselves and to understand how much we can give and how much we are able to do during this time.
Thank you so much for stressing that.
Thank you.
Noor, it's indeed so important to be kind to ourselves, to take time for self-care, and to create those support networks that you mentioned in the beginning to make sure that young people indeed have people to turn to around them. I have a question that came in from the audience for Chris. Chris, what do you look for when investing in projects at a local level from USAID's perspective? And young people are asking, how can they stand out? How can their projects stand out?
Hi, that's a great question. Well, what we look for is, first of all, ownership and the linkage of that proposal to the community where it is, and the assistance it may need to be sustainable as well. We love innovative concepts, but we really encourage young people to engage with us. And we also look to co-create as well. We know that it's not just a process of us reviewing things and looking at things. A lot of times it's the dialogue and back and forth that goes on. And then through that dialogue, that's how young people can stand out. That's how youth can stand out, exploring the ideas and working together. Like I said before, we don't think we should be directing youth. Youth have a lot of the answers and they need maybe the support. Mentoring came up before as well, or linking them to the broader network. So yeah, we look for proposals that are certainly creative, that are well grounded in the community, and that we can further with through discussions with the people making the proposal. Thank you.
That's amazing, Chris. And thank you so much for highlighting the fact that it's important to think of solutions on a continuum, that it's not something that you just come up with in the first instance and then just implement it. It is so important that you consult with people around you, people who can give you advice, who can share ideas with you and give you guidance. And so important that you stress that indeed for young people, especially when they're looking for applying for grants, that they are in dialogue and in contact with their donors and investors, rather than just expecting a one-way communication. So thank you very much for stressing that. And I think for last, I'm going to take one question which has been popping up a lot in the chat, in the different channels, which is how can I apply for local solutions funding through the Global Youth Mobilization? And the way you can apply, because the platform is now officially open, is through going to our website. Go to globalyouthmobilization.org and you will have a chance to find all of the information that you need to apply for funding for local solutions. With this, I'm going to hand it over back to Andrea. We have had an amazing technical team working out through our challenges in the back end. Thank you to our team. And we're going to go back to Andrea to close the session.
Thank you so much, Hannah. I'm sorry about all these tech issues, but you know, this is the 21st century and you never know what's going to happen. For me, it was my mic, then I was upside down and it has been a fun ride. Anyways, I want to thank all the speakers and panelists today for being here. Thank you so much for providing us with such great insights about things that youth are doing throughout the world and how youth can have the support of other bigger agencies and international organizations. Again, I want to stress this again. Please go apply for the youth mobilization grants. This is going to be amazing. This is your time to also showcase your talents, show that you're doing something great for your community, and have a bit extra support to make it happen and make it grow, have a greater impact, so on and so forth. With that all said, again, thank you everyone and each of you for, first of all, being here and listening to this amazing panel, and to all of our speakers for sharing their insights and activities they're doing. Thank you so much, and hope to see you continuing this amazing journey and learning more about what youth are doing all over the world. Thank you.
Felipe, I think you're on mute. No problem.
It's just a joke with you guys, just to check if you are like pay attention. No, I would say that I love this session and I would like to hear about you, Namrata. What do you think?
Oh my God, there were like, I think not just 10, 15 dozens, but there were so many local solutions that were shared and coming from youngsters as well as such renowned people from two amazing organizations was outstanding. Thank you all so much for your time and effort. You know, it is just, you know, I can't even express how much, you know, we are grateful to you for your ideas, for your suggestions, for the opportunities that you come ahead with us. And yeah, this was just an amazing session for me. How about you?
Oh, for sure. When we see these big organizations working together, we are really unstoppable. No challengers is like too much for us when we work together. And as you said, that's why, what are you doing here? Yeah. So it's amazing. And now I think we are going to the final steps for the second day. Yeah, Namrata?
Yeah, we are. And again, it's a little sad, but I'm happy because while we are coming to the end of the second day of our plenary session, do not forget to go and visit our website, www.globalyouthmobilization.org, because that's where you get to select your breakout sessions that you will be attending throughout the day. These sessions will be happening on 3 parallel tracks, and they might range from 45 to 90 minutes long, depending on what topic you select. Also note that these sessions are delivered by 40 plus partners of GYM, and we are very, very thankful for your coordination and contribution towards such an outstanding program. And
for sure.
Yeah, and I think Felipe has a wonderful message to share before we go, so let's listen to that.
Of course. And after I send my last message, I would like to reinforce that what she said about go there and choose your topics, choose the sessions that you want to become a part. Me and Namrata will be there too in the comments, in a few of conversations there. So we'll be like amazing, can change experience with you guys there.
Definitely.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. And don't forget also to put this in your social medias too, on Instagram and Twitter. Use the hashtag YEFMobilize and also tag us there is GI mobilization as appeared here in the screen for you guys.
Yes.
And now I would like to invite all of you here as the last message to a journey. It's an incredible journey, but to this work, I need you guys close your eyes. Just put your earphones or turn the volume to the maximum and just hear for now. Close your eyes and imagine you are in a boat in the middle of the sea. It's not my sea, it's your sea. I don't know if the sea is hungry, if it's a calm sea. I don't even know if you are alone in the boat or if you are with somebody, maybe your family, maybe your friends. It's your boat, it's your life. All of us have challenges to face off. All of us have times that this sea are calm or this sea are pretty heavy. Sometimes the sea looks scared. You can feel alone. But this, it's okay. Just take a breath slowly. Everyone, I think is gonna be alright if you put your boat in a direction. This is the most important thing in your life. This is the most important thing in your boat. Put your boat in a direction and go ahead. I believe you. Put your boat in a direction and go ahead. And now you can open your eyes.
Wow. That just gave me goosebumps. I mean, it's actually, I can't express it in words, but just the music and the way you said it, Felipe, this summit has actually given all of us direction, and your message is so much in line with that. Thank you so much for bringing my mind at peace with such a beautiful message. I'm very, very grateful for everyone here, and especially you, Felipe. You have been by my side. So yeah,
Oh my
thank you
God,
so much
super
for
glad.
that. It's amazing.
I'm super glad to hear this, and I'm glad to be part of this with you, Namrata, and with you guys are watching us, are working with us in this event. So let's do this from now. Let the summit guide our boats from here, from our lives. Okay, and now it's my last message of today. Bye guys, see you tomorrow. I'm Felipe.
Yeah, and I'm Namrata, and we will see you in the breakout session. Don't forget to select your breakout session and attend them, because we are going to be there. And tomorrow again, we're going to ask you how you like them. So take care. Bye-bye.